Hey guys, and welcome to Little Blackbird 91. What happened there? What happened there, Brianna? What happened?
I was jamming to the countdown, and you caught me. Listen, I was 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and yeah, sorry.
That was an actor on a stage who got caught by the curtain. That essentially what happened.
Surprise, surprise.
Let's start the show. No one's there. Well, listen, audience, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We are back with another wonderful sit-down conversation, and we are entreated to host the lovely, wonderful Brianna from King's Court Season 1. Now, I said Brianna. Is that how you pronounce it? Because sometimes I'll be killing people's names.
It is. Okay,
I am
Brianna.
sure. You know what I mean? Well, listen, welcome. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great. It is early morning here where I am in lovely Los Angeles. The sun has not come out fully, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be bright and shining. So yeah, I'm doing great.
I love that. First of all, I got to let you know you're looking wonderful, looking beautiful, looking splendid.
Thank you. I'm doing a hair updo this time. I know my hair is usually down and out. You guys have seen it. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to put it up. Humidity is not my friend right now. So here we are.
Updo is looking good. So we've got no problems at all. So we appreciate you. Well, before we, start the show and get deeper into conversation to understand you a little bit more, as well as your experience and your journey on King's Court, we just got to make sure, because when someone's looking so wonderful and beautiful, we know AI right now is on its best form right now. We have to make sure that you're a human being, Brianna.
Oh my God. You guys know? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we just never know.
Okay.
You could be created right now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I've got to ask a few questions just to do some human verification to make sure you're not a robot.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Is that okay?
Ready. Let's do this.
All right, cool. Hot or cold? Which one would you choose?
Hot.
Okay.
No explanation.
No explanation needed. Okay.
Yeah.
Black or white? Which one would you choose? Colors.
Black.
Okay. Okay. I like it. Go fast or go slow? Holy Spirit, help.
Go slow.
So sorry. I need better questions. Okay. Up or down?
Up.
Okay. East or west?
East.
Okay. Android or iPhone?
Oh man. Now I'm gonna say Android, but everything is iPhone.
We're looking down at you right now.
I know.
You're gonna say Android, but you're gonna have everything iPhone.
I know. I'm saying it on an iMac, so there's that too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You're gonna get iPhone Air as well while you're there, aren't you?
Yep. I know. Battery life is already trickling down as we speak because of that. Okay.
Shocking. Okay. Last questions. It's more of a opening question.
Okay.
Plane ticket. You got a plane ticket. It's empty. You can choose any location and destination to go to. Where would that be and why?
I'm gonna say anywhere. Bondi Beach in Australia. I've never been. It is a long flight. Obviously, I want to get on one of those planes that is like, full bed, hotel room, whatever it is that they have. And that beach is apparently really beautiful, and I want to check it out. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final question is to make sure, because so far it's looking good, but this.
Ooh, it is looking rough on this side.
Very. It's been a little bit tricky. Let's hope we can stable ourselves. Cereal or the milk in the bowl first? Which one?
Oh, cereal. Yeah. Because okay. Sidebar. You have to put the cereal in the bowl first because that's how you know how much milk you're going to put in. Why would I put a ton of milk and only a little cereal? Like, what if you pour the milk first and then realized you only have like this much cereal? Now
so you're happy. You're happy to drown your cereal, basically, is what you're telling me.
No, I don't want to do that.
That sounds like you want to drown the cereal.
No, never. It has to. Listen, okay. Can we get out of this now? I'm really having a hard time. I'm a Libra. You can't be asking me black or white, choose one, up or down, choose one, east or west, choose one. I was like, what? There's so many things I have to weigh first, man. Oh my God. There's pluses and minuses here. Oh, I was struggling. I wanted to give you a reason for both things every time.
I love the energy. I can't lie. You passed the human verification test. We can tell you are a human being. Thank you for the real emotions you brought to the table. We can begin our discourse now.
Oh my God. Discourse is already done. Okay.
Discourse is done.
First. All right.
I'll ask more questions out that you can explain on from now on. Okay. I did kind of lock you in there a little bit. You're my first person I've tried it on. There's there's no explanation questions. I had to try on somebody. Someone had to take the heat.
Guys, it was a struggle. Like, I need to give explanation as to why something is like, no, east. Yes. How far east are we going? How far west are we going? Are we talking about just the US or globally? Because listen, great things are happening. Up and down. I mean, Cardi said if it's up, it's stuff, but it may be going down tonight. See, you can't.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think of that. That should be one of my questions.
Every single thing you said, I was like,
I should get one of my questions. If it's up, it's up. Next time I'm gonna use song lyrics. That's what I've got you. You've got me on something now. Song lyrics for the next person. You don't send them to the early one, so they're gonna have song lyrics next one. This is your fault. I'm gonna blame you. Well, listen, you've passed our human verification test. We want to get to understand and know you a bit better. Brianna, you are more than just being on King's Court. You have a whole life before this, and we want to be able to understand, before you got onto a show, who were you and what you were about. So my first question is a very open question this time. So I've gone from closed to very open. You can take it anywhere you want, this question. I want to know, who is Brianna and what is Brianna's story? You can start from anywhere in the origin story. Yeah, I mean, if you'll start with the Batman one, we at the end, we can start there. Start at the beginning.
Wow. I was born in Maryland. No, won't go back that far. But I am Brianna is a very tall girl. I am 6 feet tall, so I was a tall child, which was less than fun back in the 80s. Pants did not fit. Thank God they do now on small children. I was born to parents who were a part of the entertainment theater community. So I've always been kind of thrust into the arts, entertainment. I love everything like that. It is like one of the most perfect things for me. My parents pretty much have done, or been a part of like music and, actual art, theater, all of that kind of thing. So that is pretty much my foundation of my life. And I actually really love it because, I mean, obviously, as me being a Libra, I love beautiful things. I love the artistics. I love aesthetics and all of that. So it kind of fits. But I will say that when I was younger, I was one of those people who used to watch like old movies because my parents obviously had a huge collection of movies. Well, my dad mostly. And I realized from a young age that it is great to be like pretty and beautiful and people call you that, but it is better for you to be funny and smart. So I've been kind of a nerd ever since I was a kid. And not like a I don't know. I don't do too, like, I don't overly do books or anything like that, but, you know, I kind of like spread it around. So that was me. I went to school on the East Coast. I wound up moving to New York right after college. I have spent many years in New York City. That's kind of where I cut my teeth and became like the person that I am now. I think being in your 20s in New York is one of the best things that, you know, people can do, especially if you're like, you know, wanting to like live and see and explore and just like be yourself. And yeah, and I was there for about 13-ish years. And I was like, all right, you know what? It's time to move to the West Coast. So I moved to the West Coast and COVID happened. So we were indoors. Fantastic for us. Lots of TV happened there. Shout out to Clubhouse when that was a thing.
Hey.
We were on that nonstop. And yeah, and then finally, yeah, that's like a very quick overview of it. And now, you know, I was on King's Court. Now I'm here.
I like that. So your move to the West Coast.
Yep.
So coming from obviously New York, different environment, different flow, different culture, and then moving to the West Coast. So what's it been like having that transition, that change? Because again, the cultures are very different in that sense of how people are reared and how they move. Of course, they have similarities, but what were some of the differences that you noticed immediately when you moved to the West Coast?
Oh, wow. Everything's pretty, it's very spread out here. As opposed to New York, where everything is super close together. It's very communal. It's, you know, you can walk outside, walk down the block, run into like 4 or 5 people that you know. It's not really like that here. Like you probably need a car here to get to wherever you're going to go. Unfortunately, it's a little clearer here in Los Angeles. You know, neighborhoods kind of segregate people where they kind of like just stay in their neighborhood. And it's like, oh, I got to drive 20 minutes to get to this other neighborhood to meet this friend for drinks. And that's like a whole thing. One of the funniest things that I realized when I first moved to LA was that weather is like a huge determining factor for events and like social. I was supposed to meet some people for like dinner or drinks, and it was raining. It started raining in the afternoon. And they were like, "Should we cancel?" And I was like, "What?
Oh.
No."
Look at that rain.
Girl, we in New York, we're going out in blizzards to go to like Halloween parties. We are not canceling for rain. So that was one of the biggest differences. But yeah, I mean, I really like to adjust to a new places of culture and like, you know, kind of see what they're doing and how they do it. And just kind of experience that. That's one of the things that I really like. My family is from the South, so I've always said that I am like a city girl with a Southern heart. So I'm always going to be welcoming and engaging of, you know, different cultures and people and things, and just try to like, you know, dive in. But I knew that I was going to every place that I've moved, I was like totally moving there. I'm going to do that. And I was like, whatever I have in my mind about it, it's going to be fantastic. And it has turned out that way generally. So, oh, good.
I love that. So obviously being in LA, you know, and you said obviously family has been involved in the arts, the creative arts, right? As well. That seems to be a hub now for that, you know, that particular sphere as well. Being in LA, has that festered more of that creative side? 'Cause I know you're in tech right now, but has that fostered more of the creative arts in you and you being able to explore more of that? Or is that just something that you've always kind of done in a sense?
That is something I've actually always done. And even though, yeah, I do work in tech, I used to work in fashion actually for a really long time in New York.
You can tell.
Where I switched over to tech. Yes. I actually have been doing like plays and, you know, different kind of things like that. I play a couple of instruments and I am part of like, you know, choirs and things like that. Ever since I was little, I actually started out doing ballet when I was 3 and then kind of moved on to different things. Like then I moved into theater, musical theater, you know, that kind of thing. So I've always kind of done that. When I went to New York, I have done modeling and more theater and TV and, you know, film. That's where I started actually writing myself. So I have produced, I've written and produced, you know, web series, short films, and things like that. So I still do those things. I took a very long break from that when I moved to LA. and I'm getting started on doing that again. Like I've always written, but I've never actually made the content because at the time we weren't able to do that. And then the industry has changed so much. So, you know, trying to do TV, do this in a traditional way is not the same anymore. Now we're moving to more short form things like YouTube and even TikTok, you know, kind of thing. So it's all about, you know, just basically making the content and doing it. And I think I'm in a space now where I just want to make it, just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but, you know, I want to put out this work just because it's kind of like gnawing at me now. And you know, when you're like, something is just like on your mind, you got to do it. I'm like, listen, I hear you. Let's just do it. So I've always kind of done that. So yeah, you know, perfect place for me to be.
Having said that, because obviously, like I said, you've been in creative arts for a long time, writing, you know, as well. Tech, writing. I don't want to say that. I'm not going to say they're completely different, but it's adjacent. It's not adjacent either. It's quite a instinct jump. So how do we get from the, because you were born and bred into the creative arts, so how do we get that into then tech? How does tech play a role in this story of Brianna?
Well, you know, tech is everywhere, but the way that I actually wound up getting into the tech industry was in New York. Actually, one of my former coworkers at the time, we worked at a consulting firm, and he wound up leaving and going off and doing a bunch of other amazing things. I wound up, you know, continuing into, that's how I jumped into my fashion era of working there. And I was actually working at Ralph Lauren, and he called one day like, hey, I am starting this new, you know, I'm starting at this new company. I don't know if you're like walking a runway somewhere or you live in Milan now, but if you're still in New York and you want to give this a try, let me know. And I was like, no, I've never worked in the tech space before, so let's do that. And and I wound up making the jump there. I was like, I've worked with him before. I think this would be great. Let me just give it a try and see what's going on. So that's what happened. And I have worked with him, who he's still my boss, at now 2 different companies doing 2 different things. And when I say tech, the place that I work at now, we do money laundering and fraud prevention for like companies, banks, and businesses. So that is the engineering tech that we have, like, you know, the software that we use and develop. That's what we're doing here. So yay. Fighting financial crime.
Hey, listen, a writer by night, I should say writer by the day.
Yeah.
Crime fighter by night. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, it's me.
Okay. So with that being said, then,
yes,
young Brianna running around the little TikToks, you know, what would you say would have been your dream as a young girl?
I've always wanted to like be an actor and an actress. I also wanted to be a fashion designer when I was younger. So I actually used to sketch out things, and I used to make a comic strip. I used to do comics. So I had a comic strip actually. So I wanted, because I really enjoyed drawing and things like that. So those are the 3 things that I probably would have said. Fashion design was actually really great. My dad would bring me materials. We had an antique sewing machine, which I was fascinated with. So he finally bought me a working sewing machine, and he would bring me fabric, and I would just be up until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, like making dresses, tops, everything. Like it was just something that I needed to do. So yeah, that's what I would do.
So now you're gonna be intrigued, because you know I can see you're wearing something very, I don't know how to call it. What do you call it? Chic? I don't know if that's the right word. You're wearing something very bespoke. It seems like to me. You know, I'm seeing it off the shoulder. You know, like I've got a bit of a suit thing going on. I'm not even sure if it's a dress, or I'm not sure if you just got the same color in terms of the suit jacket. I'm not even sure. I don't need to give the secret away. What inspired this look?
This is actually a top that is kind of. It is a 1-shoulder top, but I really like the unique design of it, and I do have a dress underneath it. This is actually from a JLux label, so I really like them. They have great like basics and things like that, and the dress I have on is from Naked Wardrobe. I like to like keep it simple a little bit until I, you know, really pop out. I wish I had a photo of what I had on last night, because that was very different than this. But yeah, I like to be I have a very specific aesthetic when it comes to work and when it comes to play. So yeah, but thank you for noticing my dog.
That's all right. That's all right. What is it about fashion that excites you? Because it sounds like when I look at you and you say about fashion, I see a little bit of a spark as well. So there's something about fashion that makes you excited. What is it about fashion that makes Brianna excited?
For me, fashion is your personality out loud. It is what you feel, what era or moment or time you are in, what headspace you're in. Kind of like, and when I say era, like what you're going through at that time in your life. Like in high school, you're trying to do experimenting, but you may not have all the tools. So you might be throwing things together by hand or just trying to figure it out, or you have a dream of what you want to wear. When you get to college, you get to do more experimenting. You want to fall in with like, you want to branch out a little bit more. People dye their hair, they come with a whole new personality for themselves to see if that sticks, if that works. And I think once you get to your 20s and your 30s, you are really leaning into like, more of the larger categories. Are you more classic? Are you more boho? Are you more edgy? And then you just kind of fine tune it to like what you love. You want to wear all black all the time? Go for it. You love florals and patterns and loud, loud patterns and things like that. Do that. But as you go on, that is who you are. That is what you present to the world. And I think that is one of the best things about fashion, is that it is one of the best places that you can silently have your personality. You can see when somebody's coming towards you, kind of who that person is or where they are in their life right then. And that's one of the things I really love. You can have a signature style or no style at all. There are a lot of fashionable people who are very eclectic, or they love avant-garde. There are the people who like to keep it simple and basic, and they just like minimalism and fine, clean lines. So yeah, it's really about like who you are internally, just expressed outwardly. And I really love that.
The form of expression that you found through fashion, right? The ability to be outspoken. I got one question that will lead to a second question. But the first question is, what is one word that you're looking to incite through your fashion? So when you wear your pieces and you wear, you put together some items together to create a statement. What's one word? I know I'm restricting you to one word again, but what is one word that you would want the person to come to mind? Like if they're looking at you and go, that's the one word I want them to have.
Here we go.
No, I'm putting that pressure on you.
One word that I want somebody to say when they see dressing or see me outside. I'm gonna go with cosmopolitan.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like.
See, I'm gonna let you explain that because I have no clue what that means. But go on.
It's something like, depending on what it is, like, that I have a very good sense of style and self and very of the world and of myself. And I have a lot of confidence and sophistication, but I could be fun. And there might be an underlying something going on there. Like, I'm not completely coquettish, but I'm also not completely just straight, sophisticated, intellectual classic. Like I'm a cosmopolitan of all of these things. It's just like, style. Hello.
I like it. Cosmopolitan. Well, let's pull back some of those layers then, as you said. So were you always this confident, always this vibrant, always this energetic? Some people come out their flowers as they grow. As a young individual, is that how you always were? What was that like for you growing up? Were you that bubbly, vivacious person?
Yeah, no. I actually was, which is surprising, was that I actually was more of a shy child, and a little bit more quiet. And, I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this or, whatever. So I really wasn't like, out there doing anything until I started doing like more theater, things like that. Like I would randomly be singing by myself in my basement and my mom would come down and see. And as soon as I saw her, I'd be like, I don't, oh my God, I would get so embarrassed. She was like, no, you should keep singing. It sounds good. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. So It turned when I started in elementary school doing plays. And I remember when it happened, I went to see a play at the school, and I, for whatever reason, had this overwhelming feeling. I was like, I could do this. Actually, I was like, I should be doing this. I should have that part. I was like, you know what? When the play comes around again, I'm going to do it. And for whatever reason, that is what it was. And I wound up doing that. I also wound up joining the chorus that we had, and making it into that, because you had to audition to get into that. And I was like, okay, this just seems like I'm on a roll. I joined our, band that we had. So our concert band and everything like that. So I was like, oh, okay, I feel really good in here. I feel really great. And that's kind of how that creativity started to spark a little bit more, started to come out more. And instead of just doing that, on stage or for a play or things like that, where you can just be, wildly different and yourself, because I really enjoyed that. I was like, well, why can't I just be like this in my regular life? And I kind of started just doing that. I I have had friends over the years be say, oh, when I first met you, I thought you were going to be, super reserved or quiet or whatever. But then you started talking. And then I heard you talking. Then you made this joke, or, you said something that was out of control. And I was like, this girl is funny. Oh my gosh, this is great. So I really loved that part, where people just never really knew what they were going to get, or they assumed that I was going to be just like, I'm just sitting here very prim and quiet. But I'd be like, girl, let me tell you something. Kind of thing, or this is what I heard, or, whatever, or say whatever part of the conversation was. And I've had several people say that, and I'm like, I love that. I love that for you, and I love that for me too. So
I love that, because that is quintessential. As time goes on, you begin to kind of open up like a flower does. You kind of open up, and you can show all facets and sides of yourself as well in that space.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, my friend group knows way more facets than I think.
Oh, is it? Oh, let us into a little bit of those facets.
Oh my God. Yeah, so at this point, most of my close friends, my tribe and everything like that, they know that I definitely am a lot louder than than I come across with other people. I have a lot of opinions. I definitely love to perform rap songs, and I don't mean my own original rap songs. I mean, just I love a Cardi B, I love a Meg, I love a Little Kim. Like, I'm going to get on the microphone and, just bring out my inner rap star, because why not? And I have seldom left a fun night or party without doing the splits at one point. It has become a thing. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how this happened. There is footage. It's crazy. And also, I love a game night. And the more intricate and more levels of the game night, the more I'm going to be into it. I have been to, as I have a lot of, creative friends, I have been to performance game nights, strictly competitive game nights, where you have to be on a team and come up with a song, perform a song from a 90s diva, and you have to compete against someone else. Love that stuff. It's it's go time. Let's lock in. I love it.
I can see it now. I'm just seeing a vision of you slapping dominoes down. I don't know why. I just had a bit.
No spades for me, or anything like that. I never learned how to play spades. Super dangerous, by the way. People get shot at spades games.
No, you run away from spades.
Renee, I ain't got time to go to jail for nobody. Some rules I don't even know how to play. So it is what it is.
Oh, I love that. So you were talking about, obviously, being a young individual. You was, kind of singing, and your mom came into the room as well. One word to describe your relationship with your mom growing up.
Oh, wow. One word?
You're going to explain it anyway, so don't worry. We're going to explain it. I'm going to let you do that. Trust me. I'm going to hold you. I've learned now. I'm with you now. I get it.
No, it ain't going to be one word. I think I would say it was appropriate.
Oh.
And the reason why I say it was appropriate because my mom she was never a mom that was like, I'm your friend or I'm going to, you know, kind of be on your level and be friends with you. No, she was my mom. Like she was going to be my disciplinarian. She was going to be my helper, my educator. You know, she is going to, you know, mold me into the person that, you know, I need to be in the world to function. So yeah, she was always appropriate. I did have, you know, friends that had, you know, parents or moms that wanted to be their friends and things like that. And I was like, okay, yeah, seems kind of cool, but it's not, that wasn't my reality. So yeah, I'll say appropriate.
Okay. Okay. Now you made a statement on the show,
Uh-huh.
and you said, you know, like, you know, everybody relies on.
Everybody relies on me. Yes.
Mm. What were you really? I know what you're aiming at, but I'm saying just for those who didn't really know, what were you aiming at, and why are you everybody's seemingly confidant, rest, rock?
Shout out to the oldest daughters, or the firstborns, because this is pretty much, I think we all have like, you know, kind of a similar story here. And that statement really came into more effect, obviously, after my dad passed away. I just kind of had to just jump in and say, it's a really changing situation. It is very foreign, but it's like we have to be here to like make moves happen, make phone calls happen, and it's just like you need to just be the kind of support there. I also am a person who really empathizes, and I've had, you know, a lot of experiences where I'm fine to talk about them, where some, you know, other people may not be. So I am very good at being a listening ear. And, you know, if one of my friends has, you know, said something about an experience they've had, eventually I will reveal to them either I've had the same experience or something similar, and I'm able to, you know, kind of empathize and understand with them, you know, what it is and what's going on. And I don't think that my friends are, you know, not to say that they are leaning on me constantly, but I actually enjoy that part. But as far as like, you know, I am like the kind of the rock of my immediate family right now is because I have a younger brother, and this basically was crushing for him. It was very hard. He did not handle like, you know, going to the hospital, doing the medical things, all of that very well. And my mom is losing her life partner. And I realize that when it comes to like grief and loss, people can immediately change and they don't realize it. Whereas where she is a very, you know, well put together on it, like always has everything detailed, wonderful, you know, kind of person, to someone that just was like, so I need to call them, but what should I say? Or how do I do this? I don't know what I'm making for dinner, kind of thing. Everything just kind of got ripped from under her, and I just stepped in and just did it. And I think it was helpful for me to kind of take my mind off of things. But that's what I meant by that statement, to clear on that.
Well, first of all, my condolences as well, because that's never easy to go through. And secondly, I think it was quite interesting to hear you make the statement that you mentioned about your mom having to, you know, her loss in terms of what she suffered, losing a life partner, brother also taking it hard. I'm also wondering, how did you take it? Because it sounds like you obviously were supporting everybody else, but how did Brianna take it in that scene? Because, you know, supporting everybody else is hard.
It is. And you kind of just have to get through it. There are things to be done. Like, you know, it doesn't feel like anything has happened right up until like you have your services and things like that. And even then I had to remind myself that this really happened. It seems like an alternate universe where you were just like going through the motions of things. And I didn't realize until I, after spending a couple months, you know, with my mom and my brother, coming back and being by myself, that that is when pretty much everything started to hit me. I remember coming back to my house and sitting in my living room, like all this stuff was in, like, this is the me that existed before this major thing happened. And I don't really know who this person is anymore. All I know like my clothes, my wardrobe, like everything that I was doing or working, none of it made any sense. And I had to really kind of just, spend the time like just letting grief happen a little bit. I know people want to push it away and, just dive into like work or things like that, which you absolutely can, but it's going to come back. Probably even harder later on. So I wanted to kind of sit in it a little bit. Being by myself was okay sometimes, but you'll be in the grocery store, or how I was at the Dwayne Reed, grabbing some toothpaste or whatever. And I was like, I need to leave here. I'm about to cry. I'm about to burst, and just left all my stuff in the middle of the aisle and left the store because I burst into tears. For what reason, I have no idea, but that happened. And you kind of just have to let it, because if you keep it inside, it's not gonna help. It helps the process, and it just makes room for you to get to the remembering, the understanding, and trying to move through what I call like your new life, like Brianna 2.0 or whatever. It's like, you have to go through this because that person's not there anymore. I think one of the things that helped is that my friends would call and just be on the phone. We didn't have to talk, or we would be talking and I would just start crying, and they were just there, listening. They understood. I am, really fortunate to, by this point, have friends. Several of my girlfriends have lost their fathers as well. So I wasn't, the only one in the group that had gone through this. This was multiple people. So, I had people that obviously understood. They knew how to say or not say things. And my family absolutely checked in a lot. So that support system was super important in the process of trying to get back outside and, do things. And I did realize one day, I was like, you know what? I cannot stay in my house anymore. Like, if I don't leave now, I think I'm going to stay in here forever. I was like, my dad wouldn't want me. I have to go outside. I was like, yeah, I have to do something. So that's how it goes.
It's true. I guess obviously then with that, because obviously I'm an older sibling too, so I know that struggle that you can get into as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned obviously not looking at your clothes and not recognizing them as well. So then you said Brianna 2.0. So of course we know you turned into the rock for everybody. What were some of the other transformations that then took place for you? Because obviously, like I said, grief initiates grief in terms of you also having to go through that transformation and changing and becoming someone new.
Yeah.
What was that transition in terms of turning into something new? What did you notice about the Brianna that you were now becoming?
I knew that I had to obviously force myself to, get back to kind of like doing normal things. And also being social is okay. But I started to just be like, you know what? My dad did a lot of things by the time he was my age. I'm behind. So I'm just going to start like saying yes to things, or just doing things like, I'm going to do those things, and whatever would come along. I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll do that. And it has kind of given me a boost of like, getting back to kind of how I felt in my 20s, where you're just like, let's do this. I'm going to do this, like no fear of anything, because at this point, time is ticking down.
Yep.
You don't you remind yourself that, you're not going to live forever. So let's get started on some things that you want to do, things you want to do, things you want to say to people, things where you want to go. So that is probably what really helped me to get back out there. And because of that, that's how I wound up doing a writing program in the south of France. Wow. And also winding up on King's Court, in addition to, just being and doing things better and different. So, yeah.
Love it. Saying yes as well. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Within that space, then dating, obviously, as an individual, you're vivacious, you're energetic, you're vibrant, you were grown into this wonderful flower. What was dating like for you then? How was dating like for you as you were moving through the stages and ages?
I'm gonna say dating for me was actually better in New York. It has not been the best in LA.
Heard.
Yeah, everybody's like, I've heard. I know. Oh my God. But yeah, dating. It was actually a lot better in New York. People actually, come and talk to you. Like, oh, can I get your number? It was more of that. Whereas in LA, they will look at you for hours on end, and I'm like, we're not going to exchange information by osmosis. So this is a kind of thing. They don't really talk, and I think it might be like just a generational thing at this point. I don't know. So yeah, it kind of sucks. Also, I will say, I know so many successful, wonderful Black women here in LA, and they also find it hard. And I think it's because we are not what people are looking for. The men are not looking for us here, unfortunately. And I wish they were, because they would find an entire plethora of fantastic women that are, everything from thrill seekers to the book talk babes that just want to stay inside. So, we're here, but we're not begging. So that's fine.
What would you say then has been your most impactful relationship that you've been in, and why?
Ooh, my most impactful relationship. I think I'll say one of my most impactful relationships. Probably would be how I mentioned on the show that, I was dating somebody, and I found out that, they were expecting a child with someone else. And I found out month 8. And that was not the best timing for a number of reasons. One, it was the day before Valentine's Day, which I hate Valentine's Day because of that. 2, I think a couple weeks after that was going to be having fibroid surgery. So I was going to be out. And the reason why I was having that surgery is because of fertility issue. I was going to have a fertility issue. Basically, if I didn't get it done, I wouldn't be able to have children. I'm like, oh, well, here you are doing a thing that I am having a surgery about that I may or may not be able. It was just the irony of this is just but I learned from that also that emotionally, especially for men, when things happen in their lives that, they can't control, or they can control, or they just go about doing things not in the best way, you will be on the receiving end of their anger and disappointment in themselves, because that did happen. I did see him afterwards. Obviously, we had to end our relationship, once that child came and all. It was a whole mess. But I would see him because we both worked in the same area in New York. So I would see him most mornings, and he would just look at me with disgust. And I was like, what did I do to you? I didn't do anything to you. So that taught me a lot about pretty much how men process things, how they deal with things. And I was like, okay. And fast forward, I did see him years later when I was visiting New York after I'd moved. We ran into each other, and, he's like, oh, hey, yeah, he was like, I'm in a much better place now, whatever, yada, yada. And I was like, so, but, we moved on, and I was dating somebody else. So it didn't even matter. He was also, a dad. So yeah, that would be one of my most, I think, not only influential relationships as far as I am really understanding more about psyche and how important therapy is and just really being honest about certain situations. So yeah. Also maybe ask a couple of questions is there anybody that you may or may not have impregnated in the past 6 months before dating? Might be helpful. So yeah.
I definitely hear that. How long were you guys together for then?
So we had dated, I want to say we had dated for maybe 4 or 5 months. Then we took a short break, which is when that little situation happened. Got back together. And then, yeah, so for the next 7 or 8 months. So yeah, total probably about 1.5 years. And before all that happened, like, yeah, he was like, I know you want to get married and have kids and all those things. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, I think we should probably like, move forward to that. So we were in that phase of conversation and relationships. And then
boom.
Again, surprise, surprise. So
Pulls out a stunner. Pulls out a stunner, they say.
Yeah.
That's a very painful situation to be in. I can imagine that, as you're pouring into someone, caring about them, and then the betrayal, the heartbreak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I can understand that. That's a bit. It's a raw one. It's a raw one, as you would say.
Yeah. You feel like you're going in one direction, and then you are not going in that direction anymore, and you kind of have to pivot and just figure it out and hope for the best and everything. But it is a lot. I've actually retold that story to maybe like two or three people, like since like a decade later, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever heard." And I'm like, "Guys, it's okay. Listen, I'm right." And they're like, "This is terrible." So, so I'm like, yes, I think I have great storytelling in that because people are affected immediately when I give them like all the raw details of it. But I'm like, guys, I'm okay. Listen, I'm still fantastic. And you just gotta just move on.
So that was the most impactful then. So was that relationship the best relationship you've been in? Or have there been others that are better?
Best relationship I have been in. Oof. Oh gosh. The best relationship I have been in. I actually dated a basketball player in Spain. And I think that was one of the best relationships that I've ever had, romantic wise. And I think one of the most incredible relationships that I've had, which I say this all the time, is the female group of friends that I have basically cultivated in New York. There's like 20 of us, give or take. I think that is one of the best relationship core group, if I'm taking them as a whole, that I have ever had platonically, and probably I will have throughout my life. These women have stood 10 toes down, laughing, crying, supporting, uplifting. Any crazy idea that I have, they are going to be like, let's do it. If any man has come and been like, oh my God, he's terrible. Yeah, we're not talking anymore. He's off the list. Like he's dead to all of us. And I think that is one of the best things because a support like that is very unique and it's very rare. And I know that as you get older, your friend circle becomes smaller. That circle is not going anywhere. And those women are just one of the biggest, most incredible blessings of my life. And if I have to say that they are probably the greatest loves of my life, I will, because a man will definitely come into my life and I will marry him and it'll be great and it'll be wonderful. But these women are going to come with me. I will be cackling on the phone with them or telling them all of our business because they love me and I love them. Yeah. Girl gang over here.
Nothing wrong at all. I'm intrigued by, so what was your early thoughts about men, in your early days of dating? What were your pre, thoughts about men and what they were like and who they were?
I think I probably had more of a naive approach to, men in general. Is like, oh my God, a boy likes me. Ooh, oh my gosh, I'm scared. Oh my gosh, how do I approach this? What am I gonna do? It's not like I talked about like dating with my mom or anything. She was like, but is your homework done? Like, yeah, she was not thinking about her daughter dating at a young age. And I don't think most parents are. They're probably trying to hold that off for a little while, as long as they can. But I think once I started, dating and things like that, in the very beginning, I remember in high school, and I do not know where this man is now, but he had just joined our high school. I feel like this guy was like maybe like 6'7" or something, so on the basketball team. He seemed to like, this is the first week of school, so he's he saw me the first week of school and he seemed to like me. So he gave my best friend his phone number to give to me to give me a call. And it was like going into the weekend. I was like, okay, great. I was like, oh my God, this is like exciting, but just also nervous. I was like, what am I going to say? How am I going to do? I spent the entire weekend trying to figure out how I was going to like open and have the conversation. Like, let's do a little role play. Got to Monday, never called him. So when we got back to school on Monday, he thought that I just didn't want to talk to him at all. We never spoke again. We never spoke again.
Damn.
I'm so sorry.
Wherever you are, sir.
But also moments like that, they make you like really be like, oh my gosh, like I really don't know what to say. Like there wasn't a class or anything like that. And I wasn't as bold or, just talkative then, where I'm just like, hey, who are you? How are you? Kind of thing. So yeah, that moment passed. And that happened actually a couple of other times where I would see somebody like out or at a bar or whatever. And I was like, oh, he's so cute. And people were like, oh, you should go over and talk to him. I was like, do we do that? Is that so? Yeah. Once you get over that, you're fine. But that is definitely how it was when I was younger. And generally, I will say, as far as dating goes, from there, I have gotten or got used to, especially like in New York in my 20s, of men approaching me, finding me, coming up to me, or staring from across the room and then having their homeboys come over. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess little Jimmy doesn't want to play because he sent his friend over. So let me talk to you then.
You got a little game in you, Brianna. That's what you're trying to tell me. You got a little game in you now. Oh, no, Brianna, you just use. I thought it was a little cutie. No, you got a little game in you, Brianna.
No. But also, when you try and like, when you are out with, like, say you're out with some girlfriends and you see, I'm like, oh, this man's got something, and he's over at the bar by himself and he's giving you a couple of eyes, whatever. I have definitely gone over to the bar, like saddled up right next to them just enough to where they can just turn and say something. I will order a drink, get the drink, pay for the drink, wait a few minutes, and they don't say anything. And then when you go back across the room, like, okay, then they're still looking over and talking. I'm like, what was this? What was this? So, it goes both ways. And I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to put it out there, but not being so like aggressive, like, hey, you talk to me. So, there's a delicate balance sometimes.
It is. No, you're right. It is a delicate balance. It's not easy.
Yeah. So, I kind of go back and forth, but as far as like game or anything, I have definitely sent men drinks, shots, things like that, where I am off in like an unassuming area and they have come to find me and I'm like, welcome, sit down, let's have a chat.
Welcome.
Oh, yes.
now you're in a layer and the den of Brianna. Sit your ass down now.
There's something that I can do for you. So yeah. So yeah, I'm not opposed to doing that. I'm not opposed to, making the first move or anything like that, especially not now. Yeah, because, sometimes men are shy too,
Yeah, we can be. I can't lie.
I have, or at least I've been told, but I have a somewhat intimidating or very like confident presence. And I know that sometimes makes men be like, what am I going to say to her? Like, kind of thing. But I also enjoy that aspect of me too. Like, I want you to enjoy it, bro. I want you to be able to, because I want you to be a little bit nervous. You should be dangerous entering this castle. Like, you should feel it. Like, yes, stay on your P's and Q's. You will be out of here in a second. Yes, it's fogging up your glasses.
I like this side of Brianna.
Yeah, look at that. Oh man.
Okay, because you're giving us the nice energy, but I know that's our other side. That's the side I'm trying to tap into a little bit, because you know what I mean. Like, I know you got a little bit of a danger side to you, so we're trying to see the other side. Oh, you said, you see, you got the other side. You light. We love the light, but
The
You know what I
dark
mean?
side.
It's a little dark. I'm trying to see what the dark is.
Ah, yes.
Mm.
Whew, it's not even noon over here. Do you want me to bring out the dark side already? Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this because I know that I can see that you're a dimensional person, meaning we get many layers of Brianna, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm intrigued because I think obviously the energy, the bubbliness, the vibrancy is wonderful, but I also know there's not a seriousness, but there's another side to you. And I think obviously I'm sure if the person wants to talk to you more and get to know you more, they would get to see more of those sides. But it's just like I said, you're like a little onion that we're peeling. That's what I'm feeling and sensing. How have you found dating being, because obviously like height is a in America, so it's probably a little bit different than it is anywhere else, but height is a thing for a lot of men. So how have you found dating in terms of men feeling comfortable, with someone who's as tall as you are?
Oh boy. It's been actually it's been kind of a mixed bag. Now I have definitely spoken to and dated men who, they're fine with it. It's not a problem. Most of the time they are taller. Then there is the group of men who are shorter, who are about like maybe 5'10", 5'9", 5'8", who are like, I would love to climb this tree. And they are upset. Like, it is like, they're obsessed. They're like, yes, that is, I want it. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But when I put on high heels, are we going to look like mother and son? And that is my only concern because of the height difference. But, if you're fine with it, I can be fine with it too. I think. Sure. But I will say there is a middle ground of men. And this has only happened a couple of times where men are kind of like the same height as me. And I'll meet them like wearing like flats or something. And then I'll put on like, high heels and they're like, oh, I was not prepared for this. I actually was dating somebody really long time ago who said that he preferred me to wear flat shoes because when I wore heels and I was taller than him, it gave other people the impression that I was the more dominant one in the relationship. Sit with that. Yeah.
I'm like, well, Sarah, you knew before you jumped into this thing that she's gonna be taller than you. I don't understand how that works.
I don't know. But yeah, it was just, I think he was probably just, just looking for any reason to kind of like say whatever. But it's been very interesting. I've been fortunate enough to date people that are really, really tall, and fortunate enough to date men that are a little bit shorter and do not care. So yeah, I think with tall women, we're fine with ourselves as long as you are tall, or you are okay with
it.
Tall,
yeah.
Then there shouldn't be a problem. Like there should never be any backhanded compliments or all these suggestions or like stop buying me sneakers. That's not my life. Like don't do that. Like just appreciate the package that I come in. Period.
Okay, I like it. You went on to King's Court.
Yeah.
And, we got to see three lovely men, Thaddius, Carlos, Tyson. Now, I know obviously you connected with Thaddius, but when you first went on the show, was Thaddius the immediate attraction? Or was there more of there is a few plates on the table and I'm open to see what the dishes are actually saying?
No, he was pretty the immediate one. And it was only because I was like, who is this? I was very like surprised. First of all, when we walk into the basketball arena, that is literally how we meet them very first off. Like they're just like, okay, you guys are gonna meet them, line up in the hallway, like go, smoke clears, and we're just like, who are these people now? Oh my God. Okay, yeah, all right. And he struck me as he caught my eye because I was like, who is this chocolate brother with these nice arms? Okay. Whereas Carlos is standing next to him being like extremely tall, like, he's got the butter pecan skin and the beard, which I have said that he reminded me of an older, better version of Drake, and everybody drags me. But at that, we were shooting and I was like, okay. I could see it. And I mean, Drake from like the beginning, like, you know, when he was
I hear you.
back then. But like, you know, no digs there. And then I was like, oh my God, Tyson Bedford. But who is this man over here? So that was really what was going on in my head. And I was like, oh my God, it's Tyson Bedford. Cool. But who is this man with these nice teeth? Okay. Okay. So yeah, that is literally what it was, and what was going through my mind. So yeah, he was he got my attention, but he didn't choose me from the date, like, you know, immediately. So I was like, fine, here we go.
So like, when he didn't choose you, what was the plan from there? Because I know you had a plan. I know you had a plan for this.
So my immediate like reaction from that, he obviously chose Ariel. So I was like, oh God, this is gonna be like he only likes short women thing. And I was like, child, I ain't gonna make it. This is crazy. Because you never can tell, you never know. Obviously we just walked in, nothing was said or anything like that. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fine, but I'll keep that in mind, you know. I'll circle back. So, you know, we did the mixer and all of that and kind of, you know, just chatted with you know, the other guys as best as we could, because there was a lot of controversy when when we had our mixer, because the original group came in and they were not feeling us, as you guys can see. And we didn't realize, like, obviously we have no context for anything that was going on. We didn't know who was claiming who or anything like that. So yeah, they kind of were pulling them in all directions, and I need to talk to you and this and that. And we're just like, what is going on? So we were like, all right, well, what's over here with the snacks right now? We'll just figure this out, like, you know, trying to figure out who we could talk to, but they were kind of all like swarmed by the OGs a little bit, until, you know, we kind of were able to get in there. And then, you know, we came back together. We kind of had a group sesh. People were chitting and chatting and talking. It was at the our little cocktail table that I learned about, you know, Tyson has a lot of sisters. He has roots in Maryland as well. We both worked at, you know, obviously I worked at corporate Ralph Lauren. He is obviously the face of Ralph Lauren from the 90s. So we had that. So we immediately had like, oh my God, this is such a cool vibe. It wasn't romantic or anything. He was not feeding me strawberries, obviously. So, so it was that. And then with Carlos, he has a very cool and chill kind of demeanor. And you're just like, okay, all right. So when he and I chatted, we actually matched on a lot of, you know, kind of like artistic things. He likes to travel. He likes to snowboard. And I actually like to ski and snowboard as well. So I was like, oh, okay. I may, you know, see if, you know, we have some more in common. Like I like the opera and museums and all those other things. And like, you know, having fun. Like I'm not a thrill seeker, so I wouldn't be on Tyson's team anyways, as we come to find out later. So that is pretty much how that whole thing went. And in the end, Carlos wound up asking me out on a date, and I was like, okay, we'll see. We're diving in. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it's him, because obviously it's not the other brother over here who chose the petite girl, so fine. But again, I was like, but I'm going to circle back.
Because he was that fine.
You know, I have always had an affinity, or, you know, I love arms, like arms and beautiful teeth.
Oh, you're an arms person. Okay.
Straight away, I was like, you have the two things that I am enjoying. And this skin is glowing. So skincare is hitting.
Okay. I see where you're going with it.
This. Like,
I see why you circle back. Your date with Carlos, then how did it go for you then? Because you obviously you guys found out you did have you had the same kind of like interests and stuff, but was there chemistry in there as well in between you and Carlos? Did you feel that, or was it more?
No. So there was no chemistry, and the reason why is because we did not realize. So we got there that morning. We went on our dates. We did not know about the previous challenge where he had kind of locked in with Janae. So we did not know that when we went on our dates. So myself and Edelweiss, we went pickleball. That's where we went, and Janae was on that date too. So once we kind of got there and like, you know, we're chilling, hanging out, it definitely felt more like a friendly competition vibe kind of thing. But he was really, I think, very much kind of smitten with Janae. We do have individual like dates or things like that. He did take Janae to do the individual 10-minute date. And also he spoke with Edelweiss. I think you guys see that in the show too. And so that was it. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, I don't know what this is, but whatever it is, it's interesting. So when we got back to the house, that's when we found out that they had locked in on day one. So we're like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
In amongst that, obviously, there's. I remember, and someone put it in the chat actually, because it did remind me. I remember I spoke about it in my review. Okay. It was because I wasn't sure if Thaddius was gonna like you, because when he put the hand on her shoulder, I said, "What's he doing here? Why is he putting a hand on your shoulder?"
Oh my god!
That was giving friend vibe. So I was like, I said, "What's going on here?" He put a hand on her shoulder like he talking to one of his boys. I said, "Sir, if you don't remove your hand," but I don't know. That's an edit. You know what I mean?
Yes, the infamous hand on the shoulder. This clip was hilarious, and the comments, people, a lot of people felt like you, and only a few people really saw kind of what was happening, and it happens very quickly. At that point, that is when the third group of women come in. So we had obviously had time to chat and get to know each other and kind of like, cozy up to each other. And at this point, we actually do like each other. So the hand on arm. So when he originally places his hand on my shoulder, he places it a little close. It is more so like here on my neck. And I was like, oh. So the camera moves right when that happens. So when he puts it back, I'm like, because I'm like, I think you might want to move your hand. That's a little, because we actually had a conversation about that before, like styles or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, it was like a group conversation. And then we wound up having a separate conversation. I was like, oh yeah, I've had sometimes you want to, you're being like playful or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I just like so when he did
I'm naive. What do you mean? What conversation did you have, Brie? What do you mean like the hand? I'm naive. I'm young. I don't know. What does that mean?
So
you like a hand in
business, and we're not gonna be doing all of that. But it is very quick. You have this, but he does do this, and he readjusts. I was like, oh,
okay,
sir.
The Thaddius work.
Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily like he was trying to give me the oh yeah kind of thing. I think he moved it, and this was just like a kind of a reaction of him just doing like, okay, I'm moving my hand back down kind of thing. Yes, but I know everybody was like, oh, he's giving her the like good work, champ.
So it wasn't that.
I don't think that's.
He was giving a different type of grip. Oh.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Now we get it. All right, Mr. Thaddius. I see you. Clever, because most of us didn't even see it, but he knew what he was doing.
See, you thought I had a secret game. He might have a little bit of secret game too. You don't know.
Dangerous. I see it. Mr. Thaddius, aka Chocolate Funnels. Okay. Very cool. I love it. I ain't mad at it. Listen. You guys did have some again, obviously I mentioned that statement, but you guys did have some great moments too. You guys were having some really deep conversations. I think the time when you guys were sitting on the couch, and you also shared that obviously, yes, you want to rock for everybody else as well. What was the kind of conversations between you and Thaddius throughout the course of the journey? How did you find the discourse and the conversation? Did you feel like there was a connection? Did you feel like you guys were able to really get to know one another on there? Because I know that it's kind of difficult with so many ladies on the show.
Yeah. I actually was able to, we actually had a bunch of conversations on and off camera, and it was actually really cool. A couple of them didn't make it obviously in, but we were talking about like going to therapy and things like that, like, how he had been to therapy and I had also been to therapy, and, like how that has changed things. And that was when I first told him that my dad had passed away. So we were talking about, how do you cope with that? Like, have you done this, X, Y, and Z? We were sharing kind of our personal journeys on that. therapy was a really great thing. And I had noticed that I was like, oh, I brought my dad's watch with me because we were asked to bring kind of like sentimental items. So I brought my dad's watch with me and it had stopped working. So I had asked him to rewind it. So we wound up like rewinding it and doing all this other stuff. So that's what we were doing while we had that conversation, which I thought was really great of us having like this kind of moment. And he was saying, about grief and loss and difficulty. And all of that. And we've had other conversations about, I did tell him about my surgery when he asked about children and things like that. And I really wish that they would have showed that conversation between us, because he actually was quite understanding and peaceful about it. He was very open and, kind of let me express that. I felt it was like a good safe space for us to have that, even though we were sitting like out by the pool. And, he lightens the mood a little bit. And he's like, listen, I totally get that things happen. But, that's not something. He was asking me, is that a challenge for you in dating where like, if you tell people this, do they not want to date you? And I said, it hasn't really come up because, over the last couple of years, I haven't gotten to that point. But I will let them know, like, I don't think it's impossible, but it might be a challenge. And, you always have to keep up. We go through a lot as women, and I know that men don't necessarily know all of the ins and outs and all of the terms and things like that. But, we're always going through something. But I really appreciated that he actually had taken that time to do that. And we had, some other fun conversations in the house. I think for me, so for most men, obviously, I think physical touch is their love language. Mm-hmm. So his is physical touch, and I believe words of affirmation, whereas I realized that I give love in acts of service. So I would always make sure that, when our breakfast and lunch and dinner or whatever, I would always like make his plate like plated, make sure it was warm, make sure it was ready, like putting his laundry in his room, like checking in on his mental health. Because this is a lot. You are living with 20 women randomly with all different personalities, and, all of this is happening. So I definitely wanted to check in with him on that. And, even every once in a while, we would be sneaking kisses here and there and all of that. And
y'all was kissing?
Things happen. Don't give me the over eye like the teacher, like I'm in trouble. Please.
She was kissing. We didn't even know she was kissing. Okay.
Listen.
Okay, so y'all heard a good
and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
We didn't get to see. I don't think we got to see as much of those intimate moments. Of course, I mean, you guys were sneaking off to date. So, but yeah, okay. So there was a deeper connection with you guys.
Yeah. I think we had a better connection than some people realized.
What was shown?
Maybe even I think sometimes the production team didn't realize because if you're a rolling camera and I'm not necessarily sitting next to him all the time, you don't know if we're really having like a connection or we had a chat. We would do morning yoga out on the lawn, but that would be before the cameras were up. So they would never really be able to catch that. And that would be great. Like if they didn't go to the gym, we would go outside and do that. Like he's like, yeah, I'd totally join you. He would bring his music and then just, go through that. And we had there were different things that we connected on that I think the cameras just didn't catch a lot. So we had, jokes back and forth, and I think our sense of humor was kind of complementary to each other. I actually had to get up really early most mornings because I was still working. So when I would I would get up maybe like 5 a.m. to do work before, we had to get ready, and the guys would be going to the gym. So he would stop in and see me, every morning before I went to the gym and everything. So we would have, those moments in the morning, like, maybe 10, 15 minutes in the morning before everything happened. So, it may not have been caught on camera, but it was definitely caught between us. Like I think time was carved out for us to have those connections personally, and I really appreciated that. That was actually really cool because I'm fine with the camera not catching it. It felt very genuine. Very much like not chasing after something to like have it on camera. It just kind of felt like a really good, like,
natural.
yeah, it felt like a good build. So yeah.
How did you handle then having so many ladies also vying for the same man? You know what I mean? Like, how do you handle that aspect of things?
Now that is a little trickier because yeah, in the real world, you know, you can be dating multiple
You don't
people.
see them.
You're not living with them, you're not seeing it. It's like, oh, I spent this great time with him and we were laughing, cuddling, doing whatever. And then like 30 minutes later, they're over like on the other side of like on the couch, like, you know, canoodling. Like it's just like, oh gosh, you kind of have to just, I think in this specific situation, and I mean this specific situation, you have to just understand like this is what's going on in this world. Like it's kind of a social experiment that's happening, especially on reality shows. Because you know, we have no TV, we have no radio, we have no phones, we have no anything that we can really like, you know, decompress or disassociate from. So you're really in it. And I think, you know, just kind of adjusting and curtailing your feelings is either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And, you know, I understood the mission, the goal at hand. So it's like, yeah, I see him spending time with someone else or talking to someone else, but that is literally why we're here. And I can't be mad at them for doing the same thing that I was just doing because that's the point. Now they may not be laughing as you know, heartily as we were, but you know, it is what it is. But it's just, you know, you kind of just have to leave room for that. And also being overly territorial about it. And oh my gosh, I can't believe so-and-so is talking to them. That's what we're here for. So you kind of can't get around it. But I think a lot of feelings were brought into check for some of the women experiencing and seeing it because nobody wants to see it. So
Absolutely.
you gotta remember like what you're really here for and what we signed up for.
I know I couldn't do it, but I hear what you're saying. How long were you there? How long were you in the house for?
We were there varying times, like varying amounts of time. So I would say the full total experience was probably inside of 2 months. I think I was there. Obviously, I was there for. I don't think it was 2 months total, but like you know, it's not even 2 months. I'm sorry, no, it's not 2 months. It is probably a full month. I'm thinking of when I got there, all of that. But yeah, it's quite a bit of time. It's like maybe, you know, a couple of weeks. I would say maybe about 4 to 5, probably for
that's a very that's a very tough like to be in that place is tough because especially if you like not having your phone regularly as well, because of course you gotta do what you gotta do. But then there's no running away because there is no other man. You know what I'm saying, Chu? Like
nobody.
I don't know how you could. I don't know. I personally would have left. Personally, yeah, because like there's no other option. And maybe I start to play games as well. But like, there's no other option here in this scenario. And you know what I mean? Like, if you're in that place vying for somebody, there is no. Like you said, there's nothing that can distract you. There's nothing else where your attention can be like, okay, well, I can talk to somebody else, and then at the same time, you know, kind of allow it to just kind of play on. There's literally nothing. So how does one deal with? I like to call it the anxiety. How does one deal with the anxiety of seeing someone else kissing a man that you like or touching them in a way? You know what I mean? Like you've seen her nails to such the back of his head. You think to yourself, oh, if you don't get your, you know what I mean? Like, how do you deal with those moments? Because there's nowhere to go, Sam. There is actually nowhere to go.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go. But I think this is when like the delusion has to come in. And it becomes very real because you're just like, whatever. Anyways, I don't care. Like you have to either see and don't see, or just be like, that ain't nothing over there. Like, you know, whatever. Like you kind of have to live in that. Like you do, because otherwise it's gonna affect you. And then it's just like, well, who are they talking to now? Where are they? I don't see them. What's happening? Like, you know. You'll get sucked into that and like I need to be where they are at all times just to make sure. And you know, I like to let you know I'm fine with the space and breathing because I need to be confident in the fact that you know what we have here and what we're building is going to be at least the foundation for something sustainable. And if I need to be right next to you at all times, being like, don't talk to him, I'm watching you guys. That you can't do that in the real world. You wouldn't do that in the real world. So I wanted to keep that kind of like as, I guess, realistic as I could possibly keep it in this scenario, but you definitely have to dive into a little bit of delusion. Like, he ain't really talking to that girl for real, whatever. Even though you
Yo, I hear it. That's wild. No, because I can imagine like it's wild. Because obviously to be in that space, I can say that that's not an easy feat to do. You know what I mean? Like it's hard enough doing it with somebody on the outside. You know what I mean? And hearing someone else's name, like whose name was that? You know what I mean? Like let alone seeing that as well. You know what I mean? I'll probably go to bed with nightmares, but
not the nightmare.
Why are you breathing like that, Brianna? What, you had a flashback?
No, I'm just like, you like the nightmares. Whew, oh my gosh.
I'm serious. I would have nightmares. I just think to myself. So now I can really understand why some of the other girls crashed out early. Because I'm like, bro, it's hard. Like, it's not easy.
But also you have to understand, like, if you feel like you came in, you immediately knocked it out of the park with somebody, like there's a connection, all that is great. And then there's more women coming in and they're over there talking to them. You're just like, well, wait a minute. I thought you had something and you weren't going anywhere. And it's like, that's unrealistic, period. Like, you can't just be like, well, you can't talk to anybody else or anything, even though that's part of the game. In that aspect, like if you see them talking to somebody else, you gotta, like, you know, revise the play, step it up on your end, or like, you know, just continue to make yourself and your connection shine maybe better than theirs. Because if they just met that person, there's no connection. It's like, oh yeah, you're cool, you're cute, or whatever. And then later on, it's just like, okay, well, let me do X, Y, and Z. Let me step it up. Let's us start deep diving into like emotions and feelings. So there's an even deeper and better connection. You kind of just got to play it that way. But yeah, just simply like talking to somebody else and getting offended. You kind of can't do that in this scenario because you're like, there's more ladies. Just like, you know, Catherine said, there's many other ladies in the world. Ladies are out here every day. So yeah.
What did your connection with Thaddius? What did your connection with Thaddius? I know that's terrible. Trying to get you into trouble. What did your connection with Thaddius teach you about, like you said, emotions, feelings, and about the way that you operate in relationships?
So this is actually an interesting question because I didn't, obviously seeing, you know, all the other conversations and the other things that were happening once the show was out gives you a fuller like picture of something that, you know, of the person and what was really going on, or the parts that they showed. Because obviously we know things that happened in the house, and then what else, you know, was happening, conversations that they were having with, you know, other people. And I think one of the things that stood out to me that was interesting and why I take the, you know, I'm not going to open up fully to someone immediately because one, I don't trauma bond to make a connection because don't want to say it's manipulative, but it's not something that I want the foundation of a relationship to be built on is like a tragedy or like we both had this thing. Let's build it on something like mutual, you know, respect or, you know, mutual
rights and interests that
we have. And then we'll get to, you know, some things that might be a little more traumatic and, you know, what I've gone through, how I've worked on them. But for, oh God, I lost my train of thought. Wow.
That's okay. You were talking about just the connections and the feelings.
Yes, the connections between it. So, but you know, seeing things from the show, one of the things that kind of gave me pause was where it seemed like some of the conversations were incited by him and then also ended by him. And I don't know if that was on, you know, done on purpose or if that was true to his character, because there were a couple things where it was, you know, you want a strong woman, you want a woman that is, you know, very successful and outspoken and very educated and intellectual. And that's wonderful. But on the other side of that, that woman, more than likely, 9 times out of 10, is going to be a woman that is going to be opinionated and wants to talk and wants to lay out her feelings, who has a different point of view than you and wants to be respected and heard. instead of just being on the receiving end of whatever you're saying and then not having a chance to rebut. And that part I did not like. So that is something I definitely kind of realized, like, that wouldn't really bode well with me, because as you've seen already, giving me like one-on-one and having me answer with one word,
Crazy.
without having like, an explanation or, anything deeper into that, or, laying something out or giving you an explanation as to why I either feel like this or chose that or whatever, that's not going to fly with me. I can't do that. And I will never or be a fan of a man silencing me in that way, or making directives and I'm just supposed to take them and not have anything else to say. Like, don't give me anything that seems like The Handmaid's Tale. The real world is already way too much like that. And so I want to be able to have open communication and dialogue. And even though we don't agree, one doesn't mean that, we're incompatible or I'm against you. But also just understand that sometimes two people who, are in a relationship they can't come to an agreement. And sometimes if you're going to be at an impasse, leave it alone and come back later. So yeah, that was something that I realized. I'll say that.
Was there any part of Thaddius that, or his behaviors that reminded you of any past partners that you had dated in the past?
Yes. So I have had the experience of kind of somebody, people saying things to you, or, well, I didn't tell you to do X, Y, and Z, kind of like a little bit scolding of you. And I'm like, that's not okay. Yeah, I don't want that. I want to be heard. I want to be respected as your equal and not your subordinate. Like, I don't work for you. I am not just one of your fans. I am not to be meant to be in the background. And this is not like, the 1950s. Like, we're way past that. So that did remind me of, some relationships that I've had in the past that I have no interest in repeating or going back to. So yeah. And also I will say that nowadays, I think that men should probably be more hip to the fact that women have opinions. Like, yeah, we can do bad all by ourselves and blah, 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 and all of that. But we also are in a place where we don't need you, but we enjoy you.
Want you, yeah.
You compliment us in this relationship and be, our partner, and not just, us.
An accessory.
Oh yes, yeah.
When you got to the end of your journey with Thaddius as well, were you surprised when it came to the end of his?
Baby, was I surprised? Oh my god! I'm like, I'm going to elimination dinner.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to hear what's going on. Maybe because you was looking good.
Okay. Well, shout out to me. I don't know what happened. And the only reason why I was really surprised is because we hadn't had any conflicts or anything like that, like on our own or anything. And we had just done the meet and greets with our family and our friends and all of that. And we had more of those the funny conversations, as you guys saw, and what's your top 3, and that whole thing. Like, I can't believe Bravo aired that, but whatever. Like, Bravo, come on. But we just had just like a regular kind of conversation. And even when we got to the elimination dinner, our time talking about like why I was there and all of that conversation didn't really bring up a lot of discourse or a lot of conflict or something that I needed to or should have done. And that's why it was still a little bit confusing. And at that point I was like, well, maybe I'm not going home, because the conversation we just had was actually really light. It wasn't like, well, you've been like this in the house, and kind of how the other conversations went. So I will say, even at that point, I was like, it's a little strange that I'm here, but maybe I'm going to get some more information when we sit down at the table, because our one-on-one conversation Wasn't anything, you know, terrible. And once we got to the table, it was, well, I think it was just a little too late. And I was like, okay. And I listened and tried not to judge. But in that moment, I was actually really crushed. And I think you can see it on my face, trying to like blink. And I know it looks like I'm blinking nonstop, but I was trying to not cry in that moment.
Oh, and
because it really just kind of hits you like, oh, okay. I see. And, you know, it was really, it was kind of like heartbreaking in there, because it's like, wow, I really thought that, you know, we were getting somewhere with this. And when I actually go to leave and, you know, we hug each other. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to hug him, but I was like, okay, he's right here. Fine. I will hug him. And I was like, wow, this is really happening. And it was disappointing. So, and I felt it. And somebody left a comment saying, it looks like he really didn't want to send you home. Like, he looks like he's regretting it immediately when you guys hug. I went back and looked and I was like, oh yeah, I can see that. But I was like, things happen. So I had to go.
I mean, I get it. I understand. And of course, he had put so much time and effort. And because you guys spent so much time ago in the house, right? So it's not your usual thing.
Yeah, I didn't. And even listening to what he was saying, I don't even remember all of it. Like, thankfully, they were recording it, because I only remember, like, you know, the "you're not my queen" part. And I was like, I wanted to ask him, "Are you sure?" And I knew I shouldn't respond.
Because, you know,
like, okay. And I was like, you know what? This has been an experience. I'm gonna go. Yeah. And that was it. So it was very surprising. I'll say that. It was super surprising.
I understand.
I know. It felt like a twist. I was like, dang.
I feel like, yeah.
I did say, and I in my exit interview, I was like, I don't know, but I was like, I feel like I'm being moved out of the way because I'm competition for somebody else. And I left it at that. And I was like, I'm ready to go. I'm out of here.
And who was a competition, darling? Who did you think was?
I know. I was like, But, you know, emotions in the moment. Yeah, I get it. And I was like, that's all right. I was like, okay, cool.
I mean, since then, I mean, has Thaddius reached out to explain, maybe just kind of say like why he chose what he chose?
Not that. Like, we've spoken since the show. Yeah, we spoke since the show. And you know, he was like, you know, forthcoming, apologetic about it. Like, you know, I'm so sorry this happened. You know, I did think, you know, that he thought that we had a connection too, but he wanted to be more invested, I think, in the perfect match aspect, and, you know, see that through. And he did.
Interesting. Did you get to see, and it's the last few minutes, I know I'm going over your time a little bit, but did you get to see before obviously the show, I said that that the Dr. Khalil, because when she said to him that she felt like God told her, did you ladies, apologies, did you ladies get to hear about that? Because I put in my review that I felt like, as a Christian, specifically myself, that is like numero uno, one thing you can't do, because you got to give people a choice.
Yeah.
So I put it in my review and I said that I think from a Christian standpoint, it's like manipulation. Because like if the other person doesn't hear from God and you tell them that you are, I mean, I'm sure Thaddius is a strong man. I'm sure he will be able to work it out. But it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the ladies would have heard that, because I don't know if you ladies heard about it. Or were you aware that this was now one of the things that was said? Because it obviously did shape. It shaped a little bit of the trajectory. I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't think it was going to work. I did not think it was going to work. So I was surprised it worked. That's my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We didn't hear about that in the moment, like when it was taping, but there
Okay.
were other conversations and other declarations that we did hear that were told to the group of women, or to the other women that were on Team Thad, about her feelings, how she felt. And they were very specific. And I think some of us thought that they were really strong for it to be such a short amount of time. And which was, for me, it was confusing, because I was like, I don't know if this is a tactic, but this doesn't really seem normal. And it seems a little bit much. Like, I think for you to be, arriving in such short, such a, as one of the last people to come into the house, and immediately saying, God told me that you're my husband, is crazy, kind of, because it's just like, why would that be the first thing that you say? And I don't know if she was trying to tap into the fact that he is, a devout Christian and all of that, so much to say like, yes, I'm here and God told me this. I can't, speak to that, whether or not it was like kind of a manipulation thing. It did seem like it in the rewatching of it, because the follow-up of that is, I'm going to have to sit here and just watch you kind of be indecisive or try to figure it out. It's like, how is it possible that you got the message and he didn't? And also, usually it does not, like you said, it doesn't really work that way. Like, if something that God has really told you and received, you just go ahead and do it, or and in your heart and yourself. Now you can reveal it to that person, but I think making declarations like that is a little bit outside of the realm of what I would do. Like, I am Christian, I'm a Baptist, so we love Jesus, but we also cuss. But that's not something I would do. And I take, my faith and my religion seriously. I wouldn't actually approach any situation like that. If God told me that that is it, I would ask for confirmation from God time and time again. And that person doesn't even have to know that. Like, I really need to know, having a conversation with God, that this is something that I feel instilled in me. And then I would also ask God, if this is what your will is, please make it so that they know in their hearts, so we can come together. Not let me pass the message on to you so that I can just let him know, because I don't know if you're working fast enough. I'm on a time crunch. So, I think that she felt the way that she felt. And I think she did let some of the other women on Team Thaddius know that multiple times, to where, sometimes people want, and I think she also mentioned that she wanted to, wanted him to be more decisive, like Carlos. But also, you have to keep in mind, Carlos met Janae day one. So they had been, it'd been weeks already. You coming in on day 3 or day 5, asking for the same thing, is a very bold thing, out of the box thing to do, especially coming from somebody who also said, I've jumped into relationships a lot. I need to take my time with this. No time was wasted there. So I don't know if it was a tactic of manipulation, but it seemed to work out in the end. So they obviously connected and bonded. I think they had a lot of, I think they may have probably done a little bit of trauma bonding, just because of his background and what she also wound up revealing to him. So that's just how it is. But, they made that connection on that, and,
No, I definitely understand that. Definitely hear that. And it's good to hear your perspective on that, because I think it was one of those moments I was watching. I was like, oh, like, this is a bit of a...
It was a little stressful for me too, because it's like, really? So I'm like,
that's what we thought.
Okay.
It was like, it's a bit soon. It's a bit heavy too. It's obviously not something that I would do, because again, I have very candid conversations with just me and him. And if
he told, if God told somebody else to do something, then he told that person. He did not tell me to tell them. Unless I'm really feeling, and people will do that a lot. They'll say, I don't know why, but something has been put on my heart to tell you, but that's not really the way that message came across. So
yeah, exactly. Anything else that happened on the show that we didn't get to see that you would love to address?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think you guys got a bunch of things on the show, especially stuff that we didn't even know was happening from time to time.
Nice.
some of the conflicts with the women that we didn't realize that was happening. Famously, the pool with Tare and Sarah, also Tare and Ariel. That actually wasn't as big of a deal as it was when we were there in person, because we were having a pool party. So it was like, he made the announcement and we were just like, okay. And we're all sitting out there and I was like, okay, whatever. And I was like, fine, whatever. If you're going to have a list, I'm signing up for 2 slots in a row. Like, don't play with me. I'm doing that. Like that would be my strategy, is like, you want to have time slots, I'm signing up for 2 in a row, and I'm going to come back and close out the nightcap. Like, yeah. So, but those discourses, those kind of like conversations, they weren't as heated in the moment as they wound up being. Now, the side conversations where, people were having, those were very interesting as well. But I don't think there's anything that wasn't shown that should have been shown. I will say there was that pool party. It was the guys against the girls in the pool playing volleyball. I wish they would have shown that, because we were going to wreck them finally. Ugh. But it didn't. That's okay. Sorry.
So the competitor shoot came through. She said, yeah, we're going to do them down. I'm going to recognize.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I know that, people who watch the show definitely like have questions and all of that. So I don't know what their questions would be, but yeah, I mean, that's all I got. I don't think there's anything else that, they would have, or I would have wanted them to show y'all, because listen.
Yeah, well, you were sneaking off, so, I feel like having secret hand gestures. Sneaky hand gestures.
Wrong. We were not sneaking anywhere, okay?
You were sneaking off and doing, you call it sneaky hand gestures.
We were having very careful and curated conversations over coffee.
Oh, yeah, you definitely haven't curated, because we now know it was a secret handshake you guys had. Collarbone and a hand, and we didn't know about that, so now we do.
Hey, listen, I'm a tall drink of water. Sometimes wherever your hand lands, I know, whatever. But I mean, you can see that we were having a good time with that. We both laughed about it. It was cute, whatever.
Okay. So, if Thaddius becomes single, could it be a thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Been there, done that. No.
Okay.
The thing of it is that it's just not gonna, I think too many things have happened already, so that's not going to be possible. And yeah, I think it just needs to be left where it is, because certain things just it's not going to work. I think the way, like, had we dated outside of the show, like without the show being there, like just met organically, probably would have dated, probably would have been fine or whatever. But with the show aspect being there and like that whole thing happening and, everything in the aftermath, nah, that ain't gonna happen.
I understand.
And I'm
Makes a lot of sense.
Go with that too.
No, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Well, Brianna, thank you very much for joining us today. You've been an excellent sport. Wonderful, elegant, classy. You know what I mean? Love your smile as well. And it's been a pleasure having that conversation with you as well today.
Yeah, this has been fun. Listen, I'll come back and chat anytime. Yeah.
Yes, we need you back.
Part 2, King's Court After Dark.
Tell us the real secrets about what was happening.
Oh my god, yes.
About people grab my shoulder. Yeah, I'm gonna use that from now on too.
Oh my god. Give me a couple.
You see me doing that, you now know why.
And you just show going out for the audience. Now you just.
I'm only messing. Well, listen, you've been a great sport, as I said before. So thank you so much, and just blessing us with your energy. It's nice to have such a brightness as well. I said the same thing yesterday as well with Alison. It seems like a lot of the ladies that come on here do have a great energy, which is really, really refreshing. So to see you coming on our screen, just brightening it up, being playful, fun, and just being just a ball of just good faith, and I like that, I think honestly, it's good to see that we get that personality coming through, because sometimes you get reality TV shows, it's not as people are not as as colorful, and I want to see more of that.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I will say, yes, to add that, I do wish they actually showed more of the communal time between like the women and the guys in the house. Cause like when we were just casual days off or whatever, we were actually having a good time. Like we'd be playing games and laughing and all of that. I cooked for the house several times on our days off, like right before the talent show. I cooked for the whole house. I was like, I was executive chef. That was my talent that day. So that was like a lot of fun and cool. So there's just a bunch of that stuff, like just how people were interacting. Like, some women gravitated more towards other women, and that was just what it was. Like that's how it's gonna be. It's what it is. So yeah, I wish they would have shown that a little bit more, so you can also see the build up and of how people connected, how the relationships actually were. Like, I know some people were like, well, why is this person still here? What happened to so-and-so, whatever. And it was kind of confusing in the beginning, but there were reasons why people were still there. And they just kind of cut out a lot
people did too.
They kind of cut out some a little too much of the dating and the chatting, so that the audience get a full context as to why some people were there, some people weren't there, all of that. So I think that they would have done that. We just don't have enough time. I mean, we only have like 40 minutes.
40 minutes per episode, yeah.
Yeah, and also this probably should have been a longer process, because I wanted more dates. I really wanted to go on that horseback riding date that Ariel went on, because I told them that was one of the things I wanted to do. And that turns out that he and I had that in common, where he had a ranch and all of that, and I have grown up horseback riding ever since I was in like the Girl Scouts, and I was like 7 or 8. And one of my family's houses is in an area in North Carolina that's very big for golf and horses and all of that. So yeah, it's kind of, it's ingrained, Black people be doing things.
We do. We'd be doing a lot of things. I guess maybe the final question, would you ever do a reality TV show again? A reality dating one?
Oh, no. Oh, huh. Okay. No, I don't know. No. Okay. I would do a reality show again. I don't think I would do a dating reality show again. I think I have seen probably enough of me dating on TV. Also, I'm not a very public person when it comes to dating. Like literally, I think that Thaddius is probably the first man that has made it to my Instagram feed and grid as somebody that I have dated or whatever ever since I started Instagram. So yeah, I usually keep all that stuff offline. I really threw caution to the wind and was like, hey, I'm going to be out here. So yeah, probably not again. The next time y'all see me dating somebody, I'm going to be married to him. But I would do another reality show probably. Yeah. Just for fun. Like, I don't know if it would be like the Housewives or anything, but something, maybe a game or, whatever. Travel. I love travel. So we'll do something like that.
Okay. Well, I definitely hear you now. Do you have anything that you want us to support, get behind? Any projects that are starting to be birthed that you want us to
I would like you guys to be on the lookout. I am finishing up a new web series that I worked on, and surprisingly enough, it is about dating. It's about basically a woman in her 40s. So it's basically based kind of on some experiences that I've had dating in LA, and how that kind of like is very much hijinks, almost impossible here. So that'll be my next web series. I have my short film is on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I'm going to try to be more of a content person. I do the fashion thing. I travel a lot, so I need to actually put my travel stuff up. And eventually I am going to finish my other short film that is based on my dad, actually, not him directly, but and I'm working on a play. So because I'm adding playwright in addition to TV short film writer. So hopefully that'll be coming soon. It needs to be soon because I really need to finish all of this stuff. I'm telling you. Gotta get it out. But yeah, but other than that, you guys can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, I guess. I have a YouTube channel. I don't know. Catch me outside, I guess, on my next trip at the airport.
Don't worry. Catch you on the flight.
Oh,
you know?
Yes, yeah. Which I will be leaving for another one in a couple of days. So love it. I need to read a travel diary. Why are we sitting here just chatting? We're supposed to be wrapping this up. Look at this.
I just enjoy your time. You know what I mean? My bad.
Look at you trying to wait on things.
Any excuse to keep you here a little bit longer. You know.
See, you.
I think the Lord told me. Hold on.
Oh, see now.
He told me that Brianna.
See, you got jokes.
I feel the spirit moving between us two now. He's telling me something. I've seen you somewhere. I'm not sure what.
I hope your audience knows this about you, like, because you really be. See, you come off all serious, and I want to just dive into the whole, backstory and give my opinion on this and how it comes across and whatever attachment style. Here you are over here flirting with the guests.
But you know what it is, because you see, when the Lord said that He's made them fearfully and wonderfully made,
I can't.
He who findeth, you know what I'm saying to you. But it says the Lord also is He's the one that conceals the thing, but it's for kings to reveal it. So when you're having the moment where it's been revealed to you, in that moment, you just gotta. You understand?
I'm done with you.
You know.
And now.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we got to go. All right. So we appreciate y'all. Stay locked, stay loaded, and we'll see you again very, very soon.